Greetings there, humans. My name is Guy Royse. I'm a developer advocate here at Redis. Obviously, you're watching this on a Redis channel. Maybe you're watching on an X, formerly known as Twitter, or is it Twitter currently known as X? I'm so confused. Maybe you're watching us on LinkedIn. If you are, thanks and welcome. Maybe you're watching us on YouTube, and maybe you're watching us on Twitch, and maybe you're not watching it all yet, and you're watching this after the fact as a recorded video. So you can be watching this in lots of different ways, but welcome, welcome, welcome. I am working on a live coding pet project to kind of show off some of the vector search capabilities of Redis, show off some LangChain, and honestly play with some Bigfoot sightings. So what I've been building is this project. I'm going to be live coding. This is stream number 5 of N until I get this sample application put together, this little fun app. I am building a semantic search application that searches through Bigfoot sightings and lets you find them. So you can use words that are AI. It uses AI to accomplish this. So we've got models that we're using that we can take a Bigfoot sighting and turn it into an embedding and put that in Redis. And then we have, you can type in your queries and say, show me all the Bigfoot sightings that happen near a body of water. And then it'll find ones near lakes and rivers and oceans and that sort of thing, semantically using vector search. So that's the big project I'm working on. We've got most of that functionality working. Right now, I'm working on the ingestion of taking new Bigfoot sightings and putting them into there and then processing them. So that's what I'm working. I see you got a couple people here in chat already. Someone from LinkedIn, welcome. Edwin and Antonio Venteria Garibay. Did I say that even remotely correct? Hopefully I did. So welcome to the stream. Hector, you as well. Cardoso. And we've got my good buddy DJ coming to us live and direct from Kentucky. I'm actually in Columbus, Ohio. DJ and I go way back. We know each other from the conference scene. And so it's good to see all of you and glad that I have people watching and I'm not just talking to myself. Well, I guess I kind of am talking to myself. That's kind of what live streaming is. But, people kind of respond, at least in the comments. And welcome as well. I know a little bit of Spanish and I know English. I'm not going to attempt to say your name. I don't want to do a service, but please know you're welcome on the stream. And I'm glad you're here. So thanks. So, so what I've been working on is this Bigfoot thing where you can search for Bigfoot semantically using Redis's vector search capabilities. I did, didn't I? Take a shot, yeah. I'm trying to put Ohio on the map. Normally it comes up during certain times of the year. Excuse me. No, I'm not having a stroke or anything. I'm fine. Just a little congested. Let me go and share my screen here. Let me bring that up here. There we go. There's my screen. So I've been working on this app for this will be the 5th live stream. It gets a little better each time. And at the end of the last live stream, we had it ingesting things where you could add Bigfoot sightings into the API, and then it would drop it on an event stream. And then it would process them in real time. But the event stream was brittle. It was very happy path oriented. It assumed all the positive cases. And so we want to be a little more robust than that. And so I went through and after the stream, well, actually yesterday, I guess that's technically after the stream I did on Wednesday. But it's kind of figured out what are the commands that I need to use with stream processing to actually do this properly. And you might be wondering, actually, why are we bothering with the stream processing at all? Because, I could just process the Bigfoot sightings, turn them into embeddings and in real time, right? Well, what I'm building here specifically is it's designed to be real developer friendly. And so I don't want you to have to flop out a credit card to pay for an API to do any kind of AI processing off of your machine. So I'm running all the models locally on my MacBook right here. And so that means I'm using, if we look here, I'm using Mistral 7B. We can't see it because it's a model, but that's the model I'm using. And so that's small enough that I can run it on my MacBook. And I'm running some Hugging Face models as well from Zenova. Basically I got sort of a 2-step process where I'm taking the Bigfoot sighting and I'm using the Mistral, which is an LLM, to summarize it. And then I'm taking that summary and creating the embedding or the vector that gets stored in Redis. And this is because the model that does the summarization has a limit of 512 tokens, whereas the number of tokens in the actual sightings that I have, there's up to, I think it goes up to about 8K. So we're doing this. And yes, random LinkedIn user, you're just showing up as LinkedIn user. I don't know who you are. It is a really nice day in Ohio today. The weather's great. You wouldn't know it from the office I'm in because I've got my blackout curtain shut so the light doesn't stream in. And I haven't gone outside yet, but I did open the door to get Chinese food from Grubhub. So there's that. But yeah, the weather's really nice here. We're in false spring and we're going to get hit with another snowstorm probably. So anyhow, let's go ahead and commence with the coding. So I've got a lot of the stuff working. I mean, it does all the all the embeddings and it creates all that stuff. But let's go ahead and get this so that we can make the stream processing a little better. And so one of the things is that's bad about what I currently have is I have idle consumers that are hanging around. So if I'm using consumer groups, and if a consumer goes away, which happens whenever I stop running this thing, then there's idle consumers left behind. And so I need to get, and I've got the Redis commands here I'll need to run to do that. So I'll need to get those consumers and then delete them if they're sticking around. But only if they don't have any pending messages, because they might have been in the process of working on a message. That consumer on that stream can grab a message off that event stream and say, I'm working on this. And then when it's done, it acknowledges that it's done working on it. And if it gets killed before it can make that acknowledgement or before it finishes processing it, then it will have a pending message. If you delete the consumer, then you won't be able to get to the pending message. So someone needs to claim that message before it can be the consumer can be deleted. So we need to handle that scenario. And then in here, instead of just reading the next message from the stream and saying, give me a message and then processing it, and then down here acknowledging it, I should go ahead and say, are there pending messages that are really old, like more than 10 minutes old? Because these things should process in a minute or two. If there are, go ahead and claim one of those because it sounds like maybe something died. And then if I don't get one of those, then go ahead and get a new message. And so that we can, when this thing picks up, it'll get older messages, process messages is skipped. And I can kind of show this here. Let me bring up, I'm just going to do the Redis command line here, Redis CLI. And I go to right here, I go to X pending. This will give me all the pending messages. These are messages that have been claimed in a consumer group, but haven't been marked as acknowledged. They're not finished. So X pending. This is the stream, Bigfoot sightings reported. This is the consumer group name. So that stream has a consumer group on it. A single stream can have multiple consumer groups associated with it. Get messages from the beginning of time to the end of time and give me up to 10 of them. And this should give me any messages that have been claimed but aren't being processed. So, and here you see we've got 4 messages that are have been claimed. And this is the consumer group. This is the message ID. This is the consumer group that claimed them. This is how many milliseconds it's been since that message was last active when it was claimed. It hasn't been updated since. And one person has claimed it, or one consumer has claimed it. So we've got 4 of these kicking around from previous runs. I can create more of these easily enough with this code. If I go over here, let's go ahead and change directory into the embedder here. And if I just do an npm start, so that's going to start pulling new things off the queue. Like if I go here and say pending, we see we've got a new message here pending from a new consumer group, and it's only been there for about 4.5 seconds. And if I run it again, you see it's updating it. And so now I've created a new message, but these 4 messages here still aren't done. And this should run in about 30 seconds or so. And as I do it, you can see it's ticking up. I'm going to go ahead and let that run until it processes, and then we'll see it pick up another one. And then I'll stop it, and then, right? Then we'll have another pending message. We can run these in parallel, which is kind of the point of another advantage of the stream. If I change into the embedder here and do an npm start, and hopefully my machine can handle doing 2 of these at the same time. And if I go to pending here now, you can see we got 6 messages. This one is still running. This one's a lot shorter now. And let's go ahead and see if these finish up. Once we've gone for 60 seconds, they usually take about a minute and a half. And greetings, Methlich. Good to see you. Always glad to have you on the stream. And one of these days, maybe I should. We've never actually talked in person, but we've talked virtually many times. I'm wondering if maybe we should get on a Zoom call, get to know each other, and I should have you on the stream sometime. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But I don't know. Maybe maybe you're not very dynamic on camera. I don't know. I haven't met you, so. But let's go ahead and hit that again. So that's that number 5 there. This group here is hit the 90-second mark. Should be finishing up here pretty soon. We've got all these. Come on, be done already. Incidentally, I should probably do this. Like if I look at activity monitor, let's see how this is affecting my computer. Yeah, I think my CPUs are pretty soaked. That is doing a lot of stuff. Although these two processes aren't using all that terrible much RAM. We've got 3.88 gigabytes and 1.81 gigabytes. It's actually not too bad. And if I go back here, surely they're done by now, right? It's not. It's this one's so this one's taken over 2 minutes. That's surprising, actually. Did it crash? Surely it didn't crash. Well, yeah, well, we'll have to make that happen, Beth, which I think that'd be a lot of fun. And yeah, Robot Glock. Yeah, there are auditions. We're holding them somewhere. Yeah, and of course, we're always on the Discord server, so we could always hop on chats in there. It might be kind of fun to do like a little Discord, hop on and let's everyone chat while we do stuff. So I did want to show while I'm waiting for this to run here. That if you want to get on that Discord server that I just mentioned, you can click that QR code right there. It's discord.gg/Redis. So if you're not on Discord, go ahead and hop on, and you'll get notified when I go live. And you can ask questions and that kind of stuff there. So that's a QR code for that if you're so inclined. And if you want to follow along with the code that I'm working on, it is out there on GitHub. Right now, it's on my personal GitHub. Once I get this done, we'll move it to a Redis repository. So. Now let's take a look at this and see. That is running really long. I wonder if maybe Restream that I'm using for the streaming is taking up some of the process here. So, but anyhow, so those are the little repos there. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. And I stop both of those. And now we will see that we now have 6 pending messages. And if I run these again, these are just going to stay pending forever. So we need to fix that. And if we go in and look at our consumer groups, let me see if I can find the code for that. I'll just go ahead and copy this here. Find all the consumers for this group. See what we got here. We've got 7 of them, including one I created the other day called Bob is Empty. Now, I am told that these will automatically delete on their own after time. But I don't want to count on that. So I do want to delete them, assuming they don't have any pending messages. So like you can see here, here's the consumer group name, which is just the ULID I've generated. It's got one message that is hanging on to, the pending, and it's been idle for 223 seconds. If we look at some of these older ones here, like all the way up here at number 1, it's got one message pending, and it's been idle for 147,702.881 seconds. So it's been pending for a while, right? So let's go ahead and let's fix this. Let's add some code to start claiming some of these pending messages. We could get the consumer groups and delete them. I don't want to do that yet. We'll add that code later. Let's go down here, and instead of read citing from stream, let's go ahead and add some more code that will actually go out and read a citing or claim a citing from the stream, or claim a pending citing, something like that. So I'm going to say const response equals that, and then claim pending citing. Pending citing. Obviously, this response here, let's use a let there, and then we can reuse that variable because we'll see. I'm not actually sure that the format that I come back is going to be exactly the same, because when we call read citing from stream, it's just returning the raw response that we get from read, and then we pull messages out of it. And maybe we can make that a little smarter so that they both return the same thing. But let's go ahead and do a claim pending citing function down here. Let's say async function claim pending citing. And then we're going to use the auto claim command. So we'll move that comment down here. And then we can get rid of this. And then, so let's put a comment there. Claim old messages first. And then if not found. If nothing claimed. Then we can say if a response is null, then do that. And if the response is still null, then there's no message received, loop continue, right? Okay. And then we just got to get claim pending citing to return something. And so we need to call, what's the code going to look like for this? X auto claim. So it's looked at my comment and tried something. I don't know if that's the correct code or not. We've got a stream name, we got a group name, we got a consumer name. Is that right? That's the consumer that's going to be claiming a thing. And then, yeah, I'm not convinced. So min idle time. Start, stop. I think that might be correct. Yeah, okay. Well, let's go with it. I don't know what the format coming back from X autoclaim is going to look like, if it's going to look exactly the same or not. And so we're going to find out. Of course, one of the problems with doing this is that it's going to get it's going to get claimed, and then it's going to be in someone else's pending list every 10 minutes. And so, well, I guess we can live with that. It'll get picked up eventually. But if I run this code right now to see what happens, it's going to claim a message and return it. And then we're going to run into an error, and then it's going to be sitting out there unclaimed. And then let's go to the next one. And it will be less than 60 seconds, less than 10 minutes, because I said it got to set for 10 minutes. Yeah, that's the syntax that I've got here as well. I'm using DJ. I'm using a dash because that means beginning of the message stack. So dash is effectively 0, 0. It means beginning of time, effectively. But I'm just wondering if this is specifically how the Node Redis code maps that underlying command. And so, but we're going to find out. So let's do this, and then we'll do a console .log. Yeah, that'll work. And let's just see what it does. I think that sounds like a good plan. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to run it. And it's giving me error. Cannot read property undefined reading messages. Yeah, that makes sense. And what does so I get next ID and messages. It looped really hard there, didn't it? Let's go ahead and see if I can see what the very, very beginning of that looks like. So claimed a pending citing. It's got a next ID. It's got messages. And then it's got the ID and the message. Okay. So that gives me an idea what to work with. So it looks like that. And then ID message. And that message is then probably going to be the same as this message here. So here the response is got messages, except okay, so xclaim is not returning, xAutoClaim is returning a single item. Does it actually need the count? Because it's got the next ID and it's got messages, but the thing itself, yeah, so the response from read side from stream is an array itself because you can get multiple responses, whereas the response from AutoClaim is not an array, which is why this failed. So so they're very, very similar. But in both cases, I'm only getting one message. So I think what I need to do here is I need to take this, and I need to make those two messages return the same format. I think that's the right way to go. So let's solve that problem. So this has got a message array and IDs. This has got a message array, but yeah. So I think we can get away with just doing for here, instead of returning that, we say const response equals that, and then return response sub 0 if it's not null. Right. So if response is not equal to null, return that. Otherwise, return the other thing. So it's going to be return. So this could be a ternary. Return response. Response equals null. Then return null. Otherwise, return the first element of the response. So that will then just give me the message, which is all. It'll give me that root thing, right? That should work. So that will give me then messages, and that should give me a message, a thing that has a message array. Wait, hang on. As I work this out live on stream, and I'm like fumbling around, like, what's the format again? You know what? I'm not going to do this because both of these commands are intended to return a single message, and more specifically, the ID and the observed, and that's actually all I care about operating on. I think no, to acknowledge, I need the message ID. So I need a message ID, the message itself. And then the message itself has two fields in it. So I need an object with the message ID and the message itself, and only one. So down here, that means that I need to, let's take this code here and take my response. And again, if the response equals null, I'll just return it. We'll do that here. So if response equals null, no, I don't want you to do that. Return null. And just get out of there. And then we say, okay, well, response messages sub 0. I need to return that. Because then that will give me the message ID, the message body. And yeah, that is what I want. Which means I can go back to this code. Okay. My brain is kind of working. It's Friday, in case you hadn't noticed. So if response is null, I could probably even go if not response. And then if that'll coerce it to a Boolean. Or if not response, I mean response is null, then return null. Otherwise, let's do this. I think that's less readable. We're going back. Response is equal to null, return null, otherwise return that. Okay. So that's that one. Up here, I need to do something similar. Const response equals that. But this is coming back in this format here. And I don't care about the next ID. But I do care about the messages, and I want the first one. So that's going to return, it's going to be response.messages, and then the first one. And does X autoclaim return null? I think I said it did, yeah. So no, messages is empty when it gets something back. So it does not return null, but I want it to return null. So here we can say if response.messages dot length is equal to 0, then return null. Otherwise, return response message. So if we have an empty message there, otherwise return this, and then that'll give me the ID, and then this will be the thing with all the stuff in it. Okay, I think that'll work. And we can comment that out. We can delete that. We don't need that. We can do that. Yeah, let's look at the pending messages. So we've got pending messages. We've almost hit the 10-minute mark on them. This one we have hit the 10-minute mark on. They've been claimed by several people. This one hasn't been. That one hasn't been claimed at all. It means this one should get claimed then. So let's go ahead and try running this again. No, actually, this is not going to work. Before I do that, this is not going to work because A, that's not going to work. They claim old messages first. Read from the stream if nothing is claimed. Why is that complaining about the if statement there? If response is triple equal null, then go ahead and try and read from the stream. If we don't get anything then just go ahead and skip loop. Otherwise, we have a message, and it will have an ID. So this isn't a response now. This is a message. There we go. That's a much better name. If message is null, then message is this. If message is still null, do that. Am I maxing out my RAM? I don't think I have anything running. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I'm just willing to get on stage and be an idiot. It's kind of, I feel like what I do when I live stream when I'm live coding is I'm just kind of showing the process, warts and all. And I think it's actually really valuable because I've been writing code for a long time, and I'm not the best coder in the world, but I'm not terrible either. But well, some of you probably think I'm terrible, but that's okay. But most of us, our experience of coding is like this, but we're doing it by ourselves and no one sees us. And we think it's just us. And so this kind of, I guess, candor, maybe that's the right word, is a good way to help, honestly, a good way to help battle imposter syndrome. So, I think that's valuable. So, but anyhow, so thank you very much. And as I said, my VS Code is lagging. Responses in the console log. Oh yeah, it is. Message. Thank you. It would have spit out undefined. And let's go ahead and this. Red message. Red sighting. and then no message receive looping. I have not used Fortran, nor have I used punch cards. I'm not quite that old, but I have done plenty of low-level stuff over my career. I've done a lot of C++ in the past. Not anything recently. It's probably been a good 20 years since I've done a serious C++. 20, maybe 15. But it's always just sort of a messy process, coding, isn't it? It's just sort of the nature of it. And okay, so there's our message. It's complaining because I defined message down here as well, so I know that. And the message has an ID. So I'm returning this here, which has an ID and a message, and then the message has an ID and observed, which is sort of the body. I have this nagging sense that I've got my formats wrong again here. But I'm going to go ahead and that's the sighting ID, but I need the ID. Yeah, I've messed this up again. Message.id. These are clearly not the same value. This is the Bigfoot sighting ID, and this is the ID that is on the event stream. This is the event ID. I'm just going to call it ID. To quote Pantera, we're taking over this town. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at this format again. So we get it. We get a response.messages, and that looked like this. And go scroll to the top. This is like the hardest parts of programming is this kind of stuff. It's all the little fiddly bits you just get wrong because you can't keep it in your head. It doesn't help when I'm streaming either, honestly. Okay, so yeah, so it's got an ID. So that the messages has what I'm calling a message has an ID and a message, and that message has a thing in it. Okay, so in here that means message.id, message.message.id got observed. That's what I should be getting back, and I'm reasonably certain. I'm sorry, I missed that there. You switch the message const to be the response. Like I could call this response now because I got two messages. So I got let message here, and then if it's null, then try signing it again. And if it's still null, then just complain about it. Otherwise, we definitely got something, and it's going to be a message. It'll have an ID, and that message will have a message. So this is not the message. This is the event. That is the word that I want to use. Claimed pending event, red event. Event is null. If event is null, there we go. Then we want the ID of the event, and then we want the message that is within the event, like that. And then we can acknowledge the ID. And then that should be working. Have I done that right? So that feels right. Let's try it. Well, actually, I kind of don't need to do that. I've thought about doing that actually. But I've got this block 5000 that's happening there. And so that blocks for 5 seconds while it awaits new stuff. So there's nothing happening in that interim. So the thing that's honestly eating up the CPU is the model inferencing itself. Did I click on your message to so everyone knows I'm talking about their methylich. I probably didn't. But yeah, put it in. Save your CPU. Yeah, I actually, it should. I mean, if it's hell, there is the because it'll wait 5 seconds for something to happen. Okay, good. Thank you, DJ. You did. We saw. Excellent. I got a mind like a steel sieve. I think this is correct. Let's run it. Let's ship it. Okay, it's processing one. What did it receive here? Let's take a look up. So consumer group already exists, skipping creation, claimed pending event, and this is the event. Excellent. I think that just worked. We claimed a pending event. Let's look at the pending events. So we got 6 of them. This one's been claimed 3 times, so that is the one that it claimed. And then when that one finishes, it should then go ahead and proceed to claim another event. Very nice. Okay. I kind of want to sit here and watch and wait and just make sure it works. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and we'll do this. Let's run a second one. And this should have also claimed a pending event because there are pending events there. There's our message, which got an ID and observed. Okay. And if we go into here and do that, we can see that that's got 3, that's got 3. And these are the old ones from earlier that will get claimed eventually, but once these are processed. Cool. That worked. That never happens. Now we'll find out. Once it's done claiming these things, we'll find out if I did it correctly for the message response for the other thing. For the actual read. The refactoring, is my read sightings from stream going to return the same response that the other one did? And I think it does. I think we're actually, you know what? I can confirm it just to make sure that I'm not insane. We got responses and we get the first message, and I want to make sure that message is in the right format. And because we have the code that is out here on Node Redis in the examples folder that shows how to use consumer group reading stuff. So let's go to examples, and we'll go to streams with consumer groups. There we go. And then when we call in our code, we're calling read group. Here it's calling read group with a bunch of stuff. The response is an array of streams. So then there, yeah, okay. So it is an ID and then a message with the key value pairs in it. Yeah, exactly. So perfect. Let's take a look and see how our pending messages are doing here. I could, in theory, let this run in the background while I continue to work on this code. I mean, that is a thing I could do. But I'm going to make change of code for other things that are similar to this. So let's take a look at the consumer groups. Look at the consumer groups here. I've now got consumer groups with Bob is empty has 0 things. Some of these should have 0. Yeah. So some of these now have pending of 0 because I've claimed 2 of these messages or a couple of these messages. And so should be able to look at deleting some of these consumer groups when this thing starts up now. And then the other thing that I need to do is when we're, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I probably should have done some research first. It'd be nice to have some sort of graceful shutdown handling so that when I tell this thing to end, because right now I'm just hitting Control-C and it stops. But have some sort of on exit, take the consumer group and delete it or something like that. But you only do that if the pending message is 0, which is almost never going to be the case. I almost think now that I'm thinking about this out loud, that this isn't a good plan. Like if you've got pending messages and it shuts down, you should just leave the consumer groups around and then have the startup clean up ones that have gotten to 0. Because they don't really hurt much to be there. And in theory, they will be deleted on their own eventually. And I just want to be a little more proactive. Some of these consumer groups that I have here, I created Wednesday evening at a meetup when I was running this. And so I feel like deleting some of the consumers might be a good practice, as long as we get to them eventually. And if they stick around, I mean, they don't take a lot of space, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at this again. Hey, the number have gone down. We've only got 4 of these pending now. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and stop these. And we're going to work on this code here to delete the consumer groups. So, or delete the consumers if it has, if there's no messages associated with it. So I'm going to create a function to do that. Remove idle consumers from the group. Idle and empty. Very important they be empty. And then let's hit a real function that does that. Remove idle consumers. And then we'll take our little bit of comment here and we'll create a function right here. Async function remove idle consumers. And this is what it came up with. See how good that is. It's going to call xinfo consumers stream name, group name. That is correct. And then it's going to say for const consumer of consumers. So for each of the consumers, if consumer is dot pending is triple equal to 0, then go ahead and x group delete consumer, stream name, group name, and consumer name. We do not have a consumer dot name, do we? Yeah, we do have a, yeah, we get that back from the consumer. I'm kind of inclined not to use a for loop like this. I tend to like to use a for each kind of semantic. So I'm going to change this, but consumers dot for each. I like the syntax better. Maybe it's just because I'm used to it. And then we'll say that. And then this needs to be async. And then, so this needs to be a map because we're going to get promises. So we'll await promise dot all that, a map of that, and then this will return promises that. That's a good point, Robot Glock. We specifically, I very, very specifically upgraded the streaming software using A so that we can have our own branding, but also so that it's in 1080p, because otherwise it's nigh impossible to read. Well, if I do it in 720p, then you're like doing this, and then I can't see what I'm doing, and that's a big pain in the butt too. So, DJ says the 4 is more efficient. Yeah, you're okay, fine. I'll let the AI tell me what to do. So I honestly, then I think maybe AI has done my job for me. That's a disturbing portent, isn't it? So remove idle consumers. I think that's just correct. And we've got, how many idle consumers do we have here? These are just the messages. We've got 10 consumers. That one's idle. That one is not. So we've got several idle here. I'd say about half of them, roughly. And then we're calling it up here. And then I'm just going to not do this. I think this is probably more hassle than it's worth. And I'm going to run it and see if this just works. This should just work. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at our idle consumers again. We have 10 of them. We should have about 5. And we do have 5. Excellent. That worked. And then this should be processing a message it just claimed, right? Yeah, claimed a pending event. Perfect. So now this is great, all right? This is actually really great, because what this means is that I can kick off this thing, run a bunch of things in parallel, and then run it for an hour, and then shut it down, and then do it again. And because part of my goal here is that there's this dump.rdb file here, the dump Redis file that I'm pointing at right here. And I want to be able to process all the Bigfoot sightings that I've got in there and save it into that file, so that when you download this code and run it, you can just load up an instance of Redis and not have to spend 40 hours processing all these messages. Although it'd probably be faster than you, because you probably have a better computer than me. My computer's good, but it's not. I don't have the right. It's using the CPU to do all this data science work, all this for the LLM, and you really want to use a GPU for better performance. And my GPU is the wrong one, and so I'm using the CPU, and so it's slower. And so of these 4,586 Bigfoot sightings, they take average about 90 seconds to process to take the observed and turn it into a summary, and then take the summary and then turn it into an embedding. That process takes about 90 seconds. And so 4,586 towards times 90 is, well, let's find out. Exit node 4,586 times 90 divided by 60. That'd be 90 seconds. So this would be the number of minutes divided by 60. That's the number of hours divided by 24, which is the number of days. Yeah. So it would take 4 3/4 days. So I'm not expecting y'all to run that, right? Okay. There we go. And the Redis CLI again here, and we still got the 5 consumers, and that's going to happen until we run it again. We have fewer pending messages. We only have 4 now. And if we look at the consumers, some of them are probably 0 now. So if I run another one of these over here, it should get rid of even more consumers. Well, almost. Didn't get rid of any. It might be because it created, I think it got rid of one and then created one. Yeah, that's what it did. It got rid of one, but then added itself, and so we have the same number. But if we look at our pending messages, we now have 4 pending messages. And if I let this run, it should tear through these. Cool. I'm feeling like this is a git commit time. Git status, git add. So let's do one more thing. Redis-CLI, bg save. So I'm going to save the status of the database really quick. Once that temp file goes away, we know it's done. Now we'll do git add dot, git commit -m, added better stream processing, some new embeds in the database. Okay, git push. So you can go out and play with this yourself. There we go. And I do think having the second one running here is probably creating a fair bit of lag. So I'm going to go ahead and kill the second one, and we'll just let the one run. And I think we can let that safely run in the background while we're working on this. So, yeah. Okay, so what else do we have in here? So that was the big thing that I wanted to do. The other thing that I kind of wanted to do that really is, this is kind of cleanup work. It's probably not going to be the most exciting content, but I've got a lot of things that really should be put into configuration. So if we look at my core API, it's got in here The stream name should really be probably brought in from an environment variable for the stream name you want to use. And then over here in the embedder, it also has a stream name and a group name and a consumer name. Well, the consumer name is generated, but the stream name and the group name really should be configuration, not just hard coded. And I'm thinking down here, the idle time for the abandonment time, I got to set to 10 minutes. We could probably make that configurable as well. And maybe even prefix the key name here. That could be configurable as well, though I'm less inclined to want to do that. But there's a bunch of things that really should be configuration. And so I kind of want to do that. It's not really terribly riveting code. And so part of me is tempted to do it off camera. But it's also not hard. So let's go ahead and let's just do it. Export const. No, not the index. Although that's not a terrible idea either. You know what? Let's do that. We'll give it the Bigfoot index and the Bigfoot prefix. We'll call this Bigfoot index, Bigfoot prefix. And then this is the index is Bigfoot sighting index, Bigfoot prefix. Let's put that first. Is going to be Bigfoot sighting : like that. And then that actually means, oops, I did that wrong. I can then proceed to use that in here. That would be the Bigfoot prefix. So if you set the prefix to something, there we go. I like that better. Just looks nicer. So if you set the prefix, I'll use it. If you don't, or you can just completely override it. It's up to you. And then we need the export const Bigfoot stream. And I was calling this reported. So we'll do that. And then what we can do is wherever we have these magic constants in our API, yeah, it's actually really in here. Yeah. We can say import Bigfoot index prefix stream, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, big.js. So we don't need the index here, but we do need the prefix and the Bigfoot stream. The prefix then is going to be used here. We'll call that the Bigfoot prefix. And then this is going to be the stream. There, blah, blah, blah. This all looks good. So that, okay, so now it's using those configuration values. And then we also in here, in the redis.api, we specify a prefix. And we got an index name. So let's go ahead and go all the way up to here. We need those guys as well. We just need the index. We just need the index, actually. As we go in here, and then we create our index. Yeah. Bigfoot index. And is there anywhere else where we're using prefixes? We're using a prefix here. So we'll say prefix. And then we actually, this is a minorly annoying thing here. Partly because of just how I chose to do it. But I need to put a colon at the end of that. I can get away without doing the colon if I really wanted to. But I just want to be a little extra careful. So now that's going to use that config, and I've got hard-coded defaults here, and I'm just going to leave the hard-coded defaults, but you could go into the .env file and change those if you wanted, right? Which is like what I'm doing here in line 80, or on this line here, where I'm checking port 80 is the default, and it changes over to 3000. Okay, so that's that. Let's go ahead and go to the API and do an npm start and just make sure that is working. It looks fairly content. Let's try and actually do something with it. So we'll do a curl -x post -h -h lowercase. I know I've got this curl in my history somewhere. Because I got to specify the header. This is one of those things where I should probably just be using something like a Postman or something, but because I need to specify the content type. I'm just going to Google it really fast. This is what I always do. Curl post. There we go. Good old Stack Overflow. -h content type application JSON. That's what I wanted. And then -- data. I need a URL there, don't I? That'd be http:// localhost 3000/search. There's our header, and then our -- data, and then we'll give it a quick query here. We'll say query Bigfoot. We should have a lot more data running on than we used to. We should be able to find something interesting. So I was showing off a little bit of this code at a meetup the other night, and someone said, you know, you never hear much about Bigfoot sightings in the desert. So let's look in the desert. So we're going to say in the desert. So that seems like a good idea. And we'll pipe that into JQ. And let's embiggen this so we can all see it. There we go. -s to get rid of any annoying whatevers that it returns. So it's still working. Excellent. Excellent. It looked at the right thing. So here we've got an embedding score. 3 boys encounter Sasquatch in eroded terrain. And in Lemon Valley, Nevada. And this is the one that came up the other night too, actually. What I thought was really interesting with this one is it doesn't actually say it happened in the desert, but it mentions all these desert things in it. And it figured out that it was in the desert. So my API is still working. That's not broken. So good. I didn't break anything. All my config still works. So cool. Let's go ahead and bring that back down. And we'll go ahead and say git add dot git commit -m added config options for API. Whoosh. There we go. And we are still adding them here in the background. And actually, yeah, it looks like we've gotten through our backlog because here it got claimed a pending event. And it claimed a pending. And is it through? Maybe it's not through the backlog yet. Let's take a look. Redis CLI. We've got 2 pending events. That's good. I should get through them soon enough. Okay, so that is got to take care of the configuration on there. And then there's the environment. So here in app.js for the embedder, again, I've got some configuration options here. Some of them are the same. This actually bugs me, and I'm not really sure a great way to handle this is I've got duplicated code because I've got 2 services that are running independently. But like some of my configuration values are the same. And I know I can handle that in like the Docker Compose, but I've just got sort of redundant code. But the other thing I ran into when I did the Docker Compose up with this whole thing is that I connected to Redis, but I needed to make sure Redis was up and running first. And so I added this code over here that did a bunch of wait for Redis, and then the next doesn't exist, then create it. And so I got this this code here, and I basically need to do this. I need to copy paste it over here, and then once Redis is up and running, then I can start creating. I can start doing this code here. But that does really bug me. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to create that wait for Redis function. I'm not going to call it here. I don't need to create the index. Wait for Redis to finish loading. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to export it. For async function, wait for Redis. And it's going to check for that loading thing. And then in here, I need to say wait for Redis to finish loading. Then I can try and create the consumer group. Because if I don't do that, then it's going to try and create the consumer group, and then I'll get an error because it's loading. And so I'm going to do that. I almost kind of want to have a library that does this for me, and then I could just call a function. I could create like another module that they both import and that kind of stuff, but that seems hard. I don't want to do that. That'd be hard. Yeah, I haven't messed with the health check option. I did in the Docker Compose, I did put a dependency so that it would wait for one and the other, but that would probably be a better way to do it. I think this is probably not a terrible defensive coding practice, just to make sure that Redis is actually ready to do stuff when you connect to it, because you can actually connect to a Redis that isn't ready. And so I don't know that I want to write my code such that I assume that I'm always going to be in Docker. This seems like it still does seem like a good idea to me, but that would be tidier, yes. Okay, so now we've got some config here, and this is going to be a little bit of copy pasta too from here, because I want the that. I don't need the index, but I do need the stream. And the prefix. Because in the embedder here, I'm going to go ahead and close that. And that. I don't need that, so I just need here. So I got the stream name, the group name, which need to be turned into constants. Export const Bigfoot group. And that is what I called it. So that'll work. And this would be the Bigfoot stream. So let it do the work for me. And then the consumer name can just be created. And what else do we have in here? We've got we got the idle time. We could probably configure that as well, but I think 5 seconds is reasonable. So we'll do export const stream idle time. I'm going to call it the idle time. What's that? Or event idle time. That's a better word. Okay. And then in here, then we can bring in, of course, that value as well. And then down here, just pass it in. And Well, let's set a read wait time to export const stream wait time. Well, that feels like it could be a good Bigfoot group. Right there we go. And then I've assigned these stream name and group name, but that's actually kind of redundant now because I'm just assigning to a variable here. And so I'll fix that as well. Let's get the other one in here for stream wait time. Down here in the read, we'll block for 1. I'll block for that. And then in here, it occurs to me that these variable names are kind of pointless because they're already constants that I'm importing. So let's go ahead and find out where it complains. And then we'll there's the stream name. Stream name. There you go. Stream name. And then group name. There we go. And that should be configuration done. Let's go ahead and stop this and see if it works. Please work. It did not work. Wait for Redis is not defined because I didn't import it. There we go. Try that again. And it's working. And that claimed pending event null, red event. So we're out of our pending events now. Actually, that's probably not true because I did stop it. It wasn't old enough. Cool. Well, that went faster than I thought it was going to. Is there anything else I'm missing? I need to commit, obviously. Exit. Git status. Git add dot. Git commit -m. Added more config options. Push. There we go. So that code is out there. And yeah. I think we might be good. I don't. Well, what else did I put? I have my very fancy and technically advanced to-do list here of all the things I want to do in stream. It was fix the streams implementation, check. Fix Docker. Nah, we'll do that later. And add config changes, which check. So the only other thing that I could do is my Docker Compose was giving me issues when it was starting up because of it's running out of memory. I don't feel like troubleshooting that kind of problem on stream. I'm going to do that off stream because that get really tedious. And so yeah, I'll need to fix that. And actually, Robot Glock, you're pointing out something in the code. I do have it all commented out, and yeah, I should call today. I have a phrase for what time it is, but I'm not going to speak it on stream, at least not for work. But yeah, if we look in the Docker Compose here, I commented out the API and then better because I Dockerized it all, and then I was running into errors and it was hard to troubleshoot. And so it's easier to see what I'm doing by just doing npm start. And then it also, the embedder let me run it in parallel. And so, I may actually just not Dockerize this. I think in some ways that might be easier for someone to get up and running other than you'd have to have Node installed. The Docker's nice because you get to know and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm so that's the thing I got to figure out is this is working now, and so then I can uncomment at this and then just run them all, and that should be good. Maybe with a little more configuration here. But I commented them out in the interim because I was running into problems, one with running out of memory, and also because it was making it more difficult to run. So I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with that yet. I'm not gonna decide that on stream today. It's Friday. It's been a long week, and I think I might just call the stream here. It's we're ending 48 minutes. 48 minutes early. But I while I'm here, I might as well the code's out there in GitHub. I encourage you to run it. I do have this thing running in the background still here, processing things. I'm probably gonna just let it run for the next hour or so and save that off and push up some more of those the sightings. Yeah, are there any questions about all this? This isn't really a ton of the AI stuff per se. It's more of the pipeline of getting my event streams into feeding my AI models. And so it's if you want to see how I wrote all the code to actually talk to the with the LLMs and the embedders, get the code, but you can watch the previous streams. They're all archived out on YouTube. I'll probably at some point try and take this entire stream series. Yeah, I'm supposed to say I'm going to give you all 48 minutes back now. Like people doing that happens to me too, actually. But I may try to take all of these, the entire stream and condense it down to a little more of a compact video that shows how to do this without necessarily all my fumbling in it. I think that would be a nice thing to provide out there on YouTube as well. So, or at least if we find some little hot takes in the middle of it, we can highlight those. Yeah, DJ, I will let you know when I do that. So, maybe we should do. Maybe what we should do sometime. I think this would be kind of fun. Is do sort of a get a few people that are viewers on stream, and then maybe live code something together. I think that could be a lot of fun. Or poke around with some interesting corners of Redis that people are interested in. Not necessarily AI, although AI is cool, totally cool too. Yeah, we'll try and get some guests on. I think that would be fun. It gives me a little more to bounce off of, and so it can make for a more engaging stream. So, but yeah, I think I am gonna give you back your 46 minutes. Is that where we're at now? So yeah, let me go ahead and turn off my screen share and just say, everyone, first of all, say thanks for watching. Glad you could join us. Kind of a shorter stream and a nice quiet Friday afternoon. And yeah, I am. That makes me very happy, DJ. If you want to grab some time, maybe some evening or afternoon, we could always hop on a Zoom call, and I could show you some of the vector search capabilities in greater detail. But that's the thing that actually gets me the most excited about this project. You're very welcome, Methalich. But that's one of the things that actually has me kind of excited about this, is because it's pure JavaScript, and yet I'm running the AI models locally, and there's libraries that will let you do that. And so Python's great. I like Python. It's fine. A lot of people have opinions about Python, mostly because it uses white space as code scoping. That's usually the common thing that they say. I actually kind of like that feature, honestly. But not everyone's a Python developer, but there's still a lot of JavaScript developers out there. So getting out there and being able to actually do this stuff from JavaScript. And of course, this means you can do it from TypeScript as well. I'm doing JavaScript because it's more accessible. A TypeScript developer is perfectly fine with JavaScript. A JavaScript developer gets, it's a little harder, right? If you're just a JavaScript developer. Not that the transition to either is particularly hard, but I create a sample project. Everyone can use it. The TypeScript people can add their types. That's sort of my thinking. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, and thank you for your kind words, David. And you have a great weekend as well. And yeah, I'm free anytime, and maybe we can, we'll talk about everything, right? Old school programmer using a mumps and COBOL. I actually started as COBOL developer as well. I have never programmed in mumps, but I do know what it is. So I should say basic, right? Good old line number basic, that 10 print guy, 20 go to 10 thing. That was where I started as well, David, but on the Commodore VIC-20 of all machines. But my first line of code I wrote was in a Kmart on the sample. But I actually was a professional COBOL programmer for about 1.5 years before I transitioned to other tech stacks. And I haven't done much with it, in the last several years, but it is there on my resume. So yeah, you're not the only one, David. And here, I kind of concur with you on most of that, DJ, personally, but and Adam. Oh, that was like the Coleco Adam. Was that what it was called? Yeah. I used inter-system cache DB, which is based on the mumps as recently as 2011. The only reason I know what mumps is because I used to work for an insurance company, and a guy I worked with who is 30 years my senior, which means he's well retired now. I know 15 years my senior, but he's still well retired. He had worked on healthcare systems written in mumps, which I thought was kind of a funny name for a healthcare programming language. Having had mumps as a when I was in elementary school, but regardless. So yeah, it's there's probably still places that are running mumps in production. So, and yeah, it was a Coleco Adam. Yeah. My initial was the Commodore. I was a Commodore kid, but anyhow, yeah, that was a fun little chat. It's always fun chatting, isn't it? So, I'm going to call it a day and wrap things up. And everyone else, how about you have a great day as well? And hello there, LinkedIn user. You came in just in time for me to leave. We've just wrapped it up for the day. But the code is out there on GitHub, and this was recorded on YouTube. So you can go to youtube.com/Redis Inc. And you can, under the live stream tab, you'll find this in there, and you can get caught up. So no worries there. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just throw a couple QR codes here really quick, just to be sure. So if you want to play around with this code yourself, and many of you have this already, but this QR code right here, I'm pointing at it, but you can't see it. It's it's right there. That will take you to the GitHub repo where all this code's at. You can pull it down yourself and play with it and run it and do amazing things, or do horrible things, or do what you want with it. Send me a pull request if you think something I did really sucks. I like improved code. Don't send me a pull request for things I'm going to do on stream in the future, because then I can't do them on stream. But yeah, send me pull requests, mess with it, do what you want, right? Have fun with it. Let's see, there's that. What's the other thing? And then over here, we got this QR code here as well, which is the Discord server, where if you want to get notified of the stream, me going live, or just ask questions about Redis, you can get on there. And next week, I'm tentatively planning streaming. I haven't scheduled it yet. It'll probably be Wednesday and Friday, just like it's been every week. And we're going to start working on a front end for this thing and actually get something. And I asked everyone on Wednesday what front end library I can use, and Svelte was the overwhelming popular choice of some variety. And so I don't tend to do a ton of front end. And so I might actually tap DJ to help me out with some front end work, but I think we're going to end up using Svelte to do the front end. So that's the plan next week, tentatively, depending on what's going on. So the rest of you, have a great day. And I think this is the part where I say adieu, which is Spanish, which is French for adios, I think. See you all later. Bye-bye.